we're wrapping up one heck of a season of these master classes that all began because of COVID. And we thought, how in the world do we connect with one another? Is it still possible for us to make connections and to move forward with our personal growth and our lives in a virtual environment? And the answer is yes, it is possible. It's just a little bit different. It's just a little bit different. And particularly the process of finding a mentor is a little bit different. People talk about having good mentors, but how do we actually do it? So, you know, these skill-based sessions we're doing are no nonsense. You're going to walk away with a plan. So let's get to work. Let's talk about how to network and get mentors in a virtual world. I always advise having something to gather your thoughts. I'm going to invite you to do a few reflection questions throughout the time today. So have something to write with, or have an open Word document or something like that, if that's how you prefer to keep notes. All right. Our purpose today is simple. It's to give you the tools to connect with people, even in a virtual world, who can guide you to the next level. And I promise you're going to walk away with a plan to put into practice. This will be worth your time, particularly if you're someone who feels like you kind of know what you want, but you don't know the next steps to take. Has anyone ever been in a situation where you say, I know where I want to be, but I don't know how to get from here to there? I know where I want to be, but I don't know how to get from here to there. We're going to talk about how to enlist someone to support you. All right. This is me on the left. That's me on the left when I had no beard and when I was doing my best Jimmy Neutron impression with my haircut. This is me in college. And the person on the right is my biology professor, Dr. Huffman. My freshman year of college, Dr. Huffman said something, the big 400-person biology class, you know, one of those huge stadium classes everyone has to take. And he made some comment about how he was sick of people from our generation just skating through college and doing another 4 years on our parents' credit card. Well, so that made me really angry. I said, who the heck is this guy? He doesn't know me. I'm taking out student loans. I'm not taking any handouts from my parents. So here's what I did. I thought it'd be a good idea to go to my dorm, to make a fake email address, and to start sending him threat emails. Well, I thought this was a good idea, but they started to escalate over the semester. Anytime he would say something I didn't like, I would log into this anonymous email account and tell him, and I found his address in the phone book. This is awful, don't do this. And I tell him, I know where you live. Well, finally, of course, the police get involved. This is crazy. And they come and they arrest me in the middle of the class. And I'm going to get expelled, and there's going to be a restraining order. And I'm this punk kid with no direction, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. And Dr. Huffman, whenever it came time for my sentence, he looked at me and he looked at the dean of students and he looked at the dean of students and he said, you know what? If this kid agrees to have breakfast with me every Wednesday for the rest of this year, we'll call it even. So I was stupid, but I wasn't that stupid. And so Dr. Huffman and I had breakfast together every single Wednesday for the rest of that year, and then for the rest of my sophomore year and my junior year and my senior year. And he was there whenever I got elected student body president of my college, which I would not have done if it wasn't for a mentor who was willing to come into my life and help me see my blind spots. Now, I don't recommend you acquiring a mentor the way that I acquired a mentor. Don't do that. But there are ways to acquire mentors that dramatically shape the direction of your life. I mean, we hear about them, right? You know, Rafiki shows up for Simba and he says he helps him find out who he is. You know, and I mean, I love this couple. I love this pair. When you know better, you do better, Maya Angelou says to Oprah. We see mentors, we see evidence of powerful relationships, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and I don't know if you're anything like me, you might see all of these wonderful mentor relationships, but then you might say to yourself, but how the heck are you supposed to get one? There is a path and there is a strategy. We're going to talk about it today. So, but first, before we start, tell me, what's the best advice that you've ever received? Who gave it to you? Let's think about who might already be in your life. What's the best advice that you've ever received and who gave it to you? Here's an example. One of my mentors named Earl, he used to tell me whenever I would get all in a tizzy about how life wasn't going my way, Earl would tell me, Reagan, this will be a lot easier for you if you remember it's not about you. What's a piece of advice that you often look back to or that you use in your life that you heard from someone important to you, perhaps a mentor, a guide, a teacher, a coach, a principal, a pastor? Who gave it to you? So we've got these guideposts in our lives. We've got these mentors who have shown us the way. Let's talk about how we might acquire more mentors in our lives, particularly for our season now, because sometimes a mentor is only with you for a little bit. So our agenda is twofold today. Twofold today. It's very simple. So we're going to talk about where you might need to grow in order to help us determine who you need to ask for help. And then we're going to talk about learning to ask for help. This play is 2 acts. There is no intermission, and it begins now. Where you need to grow and learning to ask for help. Let's start with where you need to grow. Here's the power of this process. If you got something to write with, go ahead and get it ready, because I'm about to guide us through about 5 quick reflection questions that are going to help us zero in on the kind of mentor that you need so that we can then build a plan. We're getting to work today, remember? So the power of this process is that whenever we seek out a mentor relationship, it's powerful because it requires us to first understand our own limits and our own blind spots and our areas of growth. So we can't go ask for help from someone if we first don't understand where are the holes in my life? Where am I missing clarity? Where could I use some guidance? And we have to remember, some people think I just need to go out with a net and catch a mentor. And this is where many career service programs at colleges and where many student affairs initiatives in colleges get it wrong. Unfortunately, they're trying, but they get it wrong because they just match you with someone older than you. And while that person might be well-meaning and you're interested in learning, you guys might not be aligned to walk with one another through a season of your life. So I want to make sure that you leave today with clarity about what the right mentor looks like for you. Because again, remember, in order to ask for help, we first need clarity on what we need. So here's 5 questions when I'm coaching people that I invite them to reflect upon before they go ask someone to mentor them or guide them. These are 5 quick reflection questions that we're going to do. So number 1, where are you trying to go? What direction are you trying to go? Before you get a mentor, you need to have some idea of where you're trying to go. This could be a major, this could be a car wash mogul, this could be a grad school student. Number 2, what do you need to learn? Okay, so I know where I'm trying to go. In order to go that direction, what needs to happen in my head? What knowledge do I need to consume and retain? All right. Question number 3 is, what do I need to be able to do? So we talked about the head stuff, but what about the hands stuff? What about the actual skills and techniques do I need to be aware of to move in this direction? That could help me find the right mentor. Who do you need to know in order to go the direction you're wanting, to learn the things you want to learn and to practice the skills? Who do you need to know? Do you need to know people that belong to a certain organization or community or neighborhood? Who do you need to know? And then lastly, what perspective do you need? What insights would be helpful for you? I see Brandy dropped this into the chat. Thank you, Brandy. You guys can have these slides afterward if you want them. All you got to do is email us. Now let's go through this real quickly just to give you a chance to reflect. So question number 1, we're going to go through each of these 5. We're going to go through each of these 5 and just spend about 45 seconds on each one. And I invite you, do yourself a favor. You're already here. You're already here, so invest the time in knocking this out. We're going to go through each of these 5 questions one by one, and I invite you to do the reflection. Make this time worth it. Okay, number 1, where are you trying to go? Your direction determines everything. So fill in the blank with one of these sentences that relates to your journey. Think about where you're trying to go. Think about what's next for you, whether it be the next year, the major that you're looking at, what's after school, whether it's 10 years from now. Use one of these sentence starters to fill in the blank and reflect for yourself. So I'm trying to build a business in the next 10 years that rivals Whole Foods, right? So I'm trying to become an expert in this field. I'm trying to get a job at this company or this organization. I'm trying to make a decision about whether or not I need to live in this country or that country. I'm trying to be more connected with blank. I'm trying to hone my skills in blank. Give us a quick direction. Where are you trying to go? Where are you trying to go? So let's just take about 30 seconds. If you've got a piece of paper, jot it down. If you're typing, type it out there. But first, let's get clear. Before we get a mentor in your life, where are you trying to go? Where are you trying to go? Now let's talk about what you need to learn. What knowledge can equip you to advance? So here's your sentence starter. I'm eager to learn more about an industry or discipline. So if you're going into healthcare, I'm eager to learn more about being an L&D nurse. I'm eager to learn more about what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. Or I'm eager to learn more about what it looks like to be an elementary school teacher. Or I'm eager to learn more about the history, if you're doing a dance studio to pour out into the community, the history of community organizations in this city. So I'm interested in the story behind or what it's like to. When you think about your direction, we just did your direction, where are you going? In order to do that, what are you trying to learn more about? So next we're going to talk about what do you need to be able to do? We've got your direction, where you're going. We know what you need to do up in your head. Now we want to talk about the skills that you need to learn. You're fresh, you're new, right? You're green. How do we make sure that you're acquiring the right skills? So here's our sentence starter. I'm looking to develop my skills in, I need to do some technical skills. I'm looking to develop my skills in coding or woodworking, or maybe I'm looking to develop my soft skills. I want to be a better facilitator. I want to come and facilitate an Ignite retreat for the Sullivan Foundation. I want to learn how to do that. Or I want to be better at persuasion. So maybe that's a soft skill. Or you might say, there's professional skills that I want to learn. Or maybe you want to develop some emotional skills or some leadership skills. What skills, based on your direction that you already said, what skills do you think that you need to develop? I love it. Y'all are doing great. We got two more, and then we're going to talk about how do we talk to the people we want to talk to. The next one is, who do you need to know? Okay, we've got our direction. Then we know the knowledge we need and the skills we want to learn. Now, who can help us? Who can guide us? Who can open the door? So your sentence starter is, I'd value the chance to learn from those who have a certain position or job, are experts in a certain field, have experiences that you want to learn from, have the kind of character you want to replicate. They're just a solid woman. They're solid man. They're solid person, or stand for something that you believe in. So when you think about your direction that you've got your lane, what kind of people do you need to know? You'd value the chance to learn from a doctor or a nurse with 20 years of experience, or a professional oboe performance player and who's playing in an orchestra, or someone who's bought and sold 3 startups. Who would you like? Who would help you? Ben would value the chance to learn from those who live part or full-time nomadic lifestyles. The more specific, the better. This is going to help you. The more specific, the better. Brilliant. Anyone else, when you think, man, if I could just pick the brain of someone, who would you value the chance to learn from? And the last one, what perspective do you need? What perspective are you looking for? Another way to say it is, what expert opinion could help you move forward with clarity? So this is the sentence starter that I like here. I'm seeking guidance in making a decision about, remember, we've already got your direction. We know the knowledge and skills that you need. You've talked about a person or type of person that you want to learn from. And now what perspective are you looking for? You're seeking guidance about entering into a certain field, applying for a program or a promotion or a degree, starting a company focused on X, or joining this organization, or shifting your energies from being a full-time mom or dad to running an online business, or shifting your energies from only working your day job to trying to work a nights and weekend side hustle. What perspective are you looking for? Basically, think about it this way. What's the big question that you can't seem to find an answer to? And if someone could answer that for you, it would be game changing. So I'm seeking guidance in making a decision about, or you could say, I'm seeking guidance in figuring out, do I want to work in the ER, or do I want to be an L&D nurse? I'm seeking guidance in making a decision about, should we retrofit a van, or should we get an RV? I'm seeking guidance in making a decision about, should I only focus on nonprofits if I want to be in social entrepreneurship, or should I get into, for-profit startups? Y'all are doing so great. Oftentimes at this point, if some people that I'm working with say, Reagan, these questions are good, but I just don't have a ton of clarity. I don't have a ton of clarity, and I want a mentor to tell me what to do. Rule number one, don't waste anyone's time. This is your work. You don't have to know where you want to go next, but you do need to have done the reflection that we just walked through, because then that allows you to go and run a couple of experiments to show you what direction feels right, or what knowledge you'll need, or what skills matter, or who you need to build relationships, and what insights you need. Bottom line, don't go ask someone to be your mentor if you haven't done the work that we just did. That's why we did it, to take it off your plate. Check that off the box. You're done. So my invitation to action for you is after this session, build out your list that we just did. You don't have to do anything new. Just take the reflection questions we did and hone that language so you're ready to share it with someone. Take just another 10 minutes on it and you'll be ready to go. Deal? Deal. At the end of this session, if you fill out our post-session survey, I'll send you all of those reflection questions in a nice PDF that you can print off, plus this do's and don'ts of mentorship list that I've created. And you'll get that. All you need to do is fill out our survey. That way you can print it off and have it all in one place and ready to go. We're almost done. Okay, so now we've got to talk about learning to ask for help. We've done the work of reflection. And you have to remember, y'all, it's up to you to get the help that you need. No one is sitting around thinking about how to support you, except for like your mom or your auntie or your grandma, right? It's up to you to learn where to look for help and how to ask for it and what to do with it. So you got to remember, no one's out there thinking how they can make your life easier. So we have to go out in the world with our own tools that you're gathering here today. And you got to say, hey, here's where I'm trying to go. Can you help me? We got to be proactive to seek that guidance. Okay, here we go. This is the formula. This is worked for every single person that I've helped. I can't wait to share this with you. There's 4 steps. The 4-step formula is 1, the mini interview. What is this? I'll tell you. 2, the deeper dive conversations. 3, developing a relationship. And 4 is benefiting one another. This is the mentor search life cycle, and I'm about to teach it to you in like 5 minutes. Number 1, the mini interview. So you've got all this clarity on this language that you just did about what you need. The mini interview takes the threat out of creating a mentor relationship with someone, and you just start calling them mini interviews. It's a small conversation to help you build your network. So what you do is you look at the list of things that you just wrote down about where you need to grow, and you think about 8 or 10 people who could help you do one of those things, whether it's the knowledge you need or the perspective that you need or the skills, or they could introduce you to someone. If you can only think of 3, that's great. If you can think of none, that's great. But if you know someone who is well connected, like Spud, then you can ask Spud, hey, Spud, do you know any people that are like this, right? So you create a list. Then you send a request for a brief interview. Let me tell you something. As students, you get away with getting an audience with people who adults like me don't get an audience with anymore. I'm an adult and they think I want something from them. You're still a student and you can just say, hey, I'm doing an interview because I'm trying to develop my skills in getting mentors. Can I have 15 minutes of your time? They always say yes to this. Okay. So then you're going to send a request for a brief interview with them and you're going to use the language that we just created. I'm going to show you how. And you're going to send them some questions you have, and then you're going to send a follow-up thank you email. And then in a month, you're going to update them on your progress. This is not complicated. Don't let this scare you. If you found 4 people who you think could be quality mentors, it would take you 5 minutes to email all of them. And then you have some mini interviews. Listen to how this goes. I'm going to give you the script. Download the PDF afterward by filling out the survey. Here's how you set it up. Copy and paste my script. Dear so-and-so that you met on LinkedIn, or dear such and such professor, or dear person who started a business that your parents are friends with. Insert compliment and praise. I saw online that your company just recently purchased another company. Congratulations. Or I read that article that you wrote in Harvard Business Review. I just wanted to say I really enjoyed it, or whatever. And then you're going to say this, and you've already done this work. Look at how easy this is. I'm beginning a journey toward direction. You already did that. Insert whatever direction you're going. I'm trying to figure out if I need to being a nurse or to investing in startups. And it's become clear that I need to acquire some knowledge and skills. So you're going to insert the knowledge and skills that you just wrote down in the last section. And then you're going to say, and I benefit greatly from meeting these kinds of people, which you've already reflected on, and getting these kinds of insights, which you've already reflected on. You've already written this. Now we just put it all together in one sentence. And then you just say, would you be willing to have a 15-minute call about the following questions? I promise to honor your time and put your insights to work. And then you include a couple of thoughtful questions that you can't answer on Google, and say, I'll be available whenever works for you. Thank you for considering. 95% of the time this works. And you get a 15-minute call with someone who is busy and thoughtful and is doing really well in their field because you've approached them and you've demonstrated that you've already done the work and you're eager to grow and you just need some guidance. Take this script, steal it, and use it. I'm telling you, I work with thousands of college students in my career. And the 5% of them that have done this figure out how to get internships and jobs aligned with who they wanted to be. So that's step number 1, is the mini interview. Think about a few folks that you'd like to learn from and ask them if you can just do a quick interview. So then after your first interview, you follow up with them in like a month, okay? These are like the second and third or fourth dates to see if you're really going to develop a mentorship relationship with them. These are called the deeper dive conversations. So you did your mini interview, you followed up with them and said, hey, I put your insights to work. Here's what I learned. And then you're going to do this a couple times. You're going to reach out with some new questions. And then you're going to, based on your experience, putting their guidance to work. And then you're going to do this like 4 to 6 weeks after your first interaction. You don't want to flood their inbox, okay? And then you're going to start inviting them to share stories with you. You're going to do this 2 to 3 times, updating them between meetings. And you always need to show them that whatever they suggested, you put it into practice and you're coming back to them. So you do this for a few more interactions. And then here's the secret to the deep dive conversations piece. You slowly begin learning about what they need and would add value to their work and their life. And perhaps you send them an article and say, I was thinking about you. This looks like it might be a solution for you. Or, hey, I built a marketing plan. You mentioned you're struggling to reach people my age with your marketing. And I just built out a couple of ideas that I think might be helpful. I just wanted to offer it to you. This is all you have to do. It costs you nothing. So after you do the initial mini interview, you do 2 or 3 of these deep dive conversations over the course of several months, and you realize this is someone that I really think could be a guide for me long term. So then what you do is you start to settle into the rhythm of a relationship, and only do this if you really sense that they're interested in you as a person. that they're not just doing this out of obligation. And you can tell, right? You can tell if they're just doing it because they're obligated to, or if they're really enjoying your company. And if you believe that they're a good fit for you, it has to work for you as well. Continue to put their guidance to work like we did before, but it's now okay to start asking them more personal questions about their lives and slowly begin including them in your life and looking for ways to include them in yours. That means maybe if you're doing a startup, you say, hey, would you like to be on our board of advisors? Or if you've got a pitch competition, you invite them to come and watch. Or if you know that their kid is in speech and debate, maybe you offer to give their kid a little bit of coaching or you attend their event. You slowly start to make yourselves part of one another's lives. And then the last one is you make sure that both people are receiving benefits. Many people who are young say to me, Reagan, I don't know what value I have to offer someone who I would want to mentor me. And they forget that your gift back to them is simply your perspective and curiosity and excitement. They were young once too, and they're just thrilled that you're interested in the path that they took. You reaching your potential is the greatest way of repaying them. You going out and causing a big ruckus, to use Seth Godin's language, is the greatest repayment to them. As you grow, don't leave them behind. Don't forget about your high school mentor and your college mentor and your mentor in your first job. Continue to include them in your life, and to honor them, make sure that you're also looking for ways to mentor others. So your invitation to action here is to build your short list. Who are the people that you would like to start this process with by doing an interview? Now, don't be overwhelmed by what I just walked you through. You can get that in the PDF if you fill out the survey after this meeting. Let's just think about the mini interview part, that first part. Who are the people you'd like to talk to for 15 minutes that can help you with those self-reflection questions we started with? So, identify 8 to 10 people you'd like to learn from, find out how to contact them, and begin setting up mini interviews. So that's your invitation to action, is just to make the list of people that you want to talk to. Jordan asks, Reagan, have you been in touch with your biology professor all these years? The answer is yes. Actually, I deliver a keynote speech at conferences about mentorship where I tell our story, and I normally call him when I'm driving to or from that conference to let him know I'm about to tell a story about how much of a jerk I was. So that's pretty fun that we continue to be in each other's lives. Okay, this was our purpose, to give you the tools to connect with people, even in a virtual world, who can guide you to the next level. I promised that you'd have a plan, and you do.